Let's start with the video, Chapter 101 Summary. The next day, Ming took Joe to his company, which shocked Joe due to its large scale. Despite Ming trying to fade from the public, fans still gathered at the gate. Ming remained indifferent and led Joe to his office. Upon arrival, Ming learned that his sister, Mei, was present with Tong. Ming's expression changed, knowing this would complicate matters. Ming's sister is strict about his affairs, while his brother ignores his sexual orientation. Despite this, Ming entered the reception with Joe. Tong and Mei were chatting. Mei glared at Joe upon their entrance. Joe, who had never had conflicts with women, smiled faintly, but Mei turned away uncomfortably. Ming addressed Tong and Mei, who then asked why Ming was treating Tong poorly. Tong brought Mei to force Ming to sign a business agreement, using his sister to pressure him. Ming, however, prioritized his rules and left, causing Mei to question his behavior. Ming's dissatisfaction with Tong had grown over time, realizing Tong's shortcomings. Ming's love for Tong had clouded his judgment, but after removing these feelings, he saw Tong's true character. Ming is now aware of Tong's flaws, such as his lack of business acumen and narrow-mindedness. Ming is unsure why Tong opposes Joe but is determined to protect him. Bringing Mei to force Ming's hand was an unexpected move. Ming maintains a separation between business and personal matters. Mei confronts them angrily, accusing Ming of hiding something and being influenced by Joe. Ming tells Mei to leave him alone, and Joe attempts to exit the situation. Mei refuses to let Joe leave, insisting on addressing what she perceives as her brother's inappropriate relationship with a man. Tong had not anticipated the situation escalating to this point, as Mei's anger is difficult to contain. Ming is enraged by Mei's behavior and tells her to get out. Mei becomes increasingly emotional, pointing out Ming's social status and the potential harm to the family's reputation. Ming orders her to leave, and Mei's anger turns to grief. Joe remains calm, telling Mei that the contract between him and Tong will eventually end, so there's no need for family conflict. Ming chases after Joe and drags him into an office to speak privately. Ming apologizes for his sister's behavior, but Joe is frustrated, telling Ming to grow up and face the reality that his family will not accept their relationship. Joe is ashamed of his own behavior and realizes he should not have placed such high expectations on Ming. If you like this kind of video and want more videos, then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Only 8.3% of you had subscribed to my channel. Please subscribe, it will motivate me to make more videos like this. Thank you so much for your attention and participation. Let's continue with the video, Chapter 102 Summary. Ming's heart ached as he saw Joe's red eyes, caused by rage. Ming had hoped to prove himself to Joe, but his sister's behavior had ruined it. He was not afraid of his parents' reaction, but he feared that Joe would get hurt. He regretted introducing Joe to his sister, Mei, and was terrified that Joe would leave him again. Joe told Ming that he had things to do and want to leave. Ming chased after him, afraid that Joe would disappear from his life once again. He begged Joe to tell him when he would come back, and Joe reluctantly agreed to return in 3 days. Ming kissed Joe fiercely, not caring about the consequences, and Joe left without looking back. Joe called his mother and informed her that he would be home for dinner. Joe bought fruits for a week. Ming asked him to go to the hospital with her, and Joe agreed. Ming told Joe that she wanted to change her hospital visits to once a week, but Joe advised her to follow the doctor's advice. Joe felt relaxed as Ming did not call him all day. The next day, Joe went to the company and found that what looked dispirited. What told Joe that his father might not make it to the new year, and Joe comforted him. What then discussed Joe's work and told him that President Wang had approved a large sum of money for a new project. What asked Joe about his relationship with Ming, and Joe avoided the question. What warned Joe not to make the same mistakes again, but Joe was unsure about his future with Ming. Joe had not spoken to Ming for 2 days, and he was unsure of how to face him. What told Joe that Ming had also gone through pain and suffering, and he realized how great Joe was to him. Joe told What that he had moved on, but What reminded him that it was fate. In conclusion, Ming and Joe's relationship is complicated, and Joe is unsure about his future with him. What's words of caution make Joe think about his past mistakes and the consequences of his actions. Joe and What were talking when Sol arrived at What's office. Sol, who had been avoiding Joe, was now sitting next to him, asking if Joe would spend the new year with him and What. Joe remained silent, thinking about his plans. What then invited Joe to Kanchanaburi to spend the new year with his family. Joe agreed, but he had to discuss it with his mother first. Sol looked at Joe with a hint of sadness, but Joe didn't acknowledge it and left for the finance department. Over the next few days, Ming didn't contact Joe, making him worry. He tried calling Jim, but Jim didn't answer. Joe's worry turned into suspicion, and he received a mysterious text message from an unknown number, saying, "Don't ask me, I can't say anything." Joe had no choice but to wait for Ming to contact him. He decided to take Ming to What's hometown for the new year. On the 29th, Joe received a call from an unfamiliar number, but it was Mike, Ming's older brother. Mike asked Joe to meet him to discuss Ming's situation. Joe agreed and went to the cafe. Mike told Joe that Ming was in trouble and needed his help. Ming had been in house arrest by his father. Joe was shocked and didn't know what to do. Thank you for watching. If you want to read the novel, then visit patreon.com/blspoilers. The link will be in the description. Special thanks to my legendary supporters Melanie Harris, Kiera Russell, Rebecca, Ann, Brian Stargle, Chelsea 212, Suzanne 233, Tamara Kumar, MZT, Maria Lalbacan, Sharon Fong, Martina Bosankova, S. Armstrong, P. Pri, ed.